Light plays an essential role in our daily life. In daytime, the lightings in college provide a good environment for students to study. At night, light brightens different locations to extend our various activities. For instance, lightings in the sports ground allow teenagers to play ball games. Lights on the road can prevent accidents. It is very common to see the streets are brightened with colorful advertising signs when night falls. These appealing artificial lightings grab everyone's attention and aim to arouse your desire to purchase. It seems good for promoting Hong Kong's stunning night view and stimulating local economic development. On the other hand, the issue of light pollution is also brought about by the excessive use of dazzling lightings. What is light pollution? It is defined as a form of environmental degradation caused by excessive artificial outdoor lightings. In 2013, the CNN reported that Hong Kong was the most light-polluted city in the world. According to a study done by the Faculty of Science at the University of Hong Kong, it is found that the local urban night sky is much brighter than the international norms. Do you realize that light pollution is serious in Hong Kong? How does it affect human lives?
This leads to our investigation. The aim of our experiment is to find out the severity of light pollution in Hong Kong by measuring the light levels, which is also known as illuminance, in urban and rural areas respectively. Illuminance is the total amount of light falling on an object surface per unit area, and it is measured in lux. Urban areas are highly commercialized, which are frequently lit up for retailing lightings. Therefore, urban areas are expected to have critical light pollution. By contrast, rural areas are expected to have smaller index because of their lower commercialized level. Moreover, the lux level at night is expected to be relatively lower than that in daytime in these areas.
In the experiment, we are going to collect data in Tsim Sha Tsui and Mong Kok as urban areas, as they are the popular tourist spots with many business activities. We also choose Tin Shui Wai and Tuen Mun for data collection in rural areas. We download our measurement tool through the App Store of iOS system. By searching light meter, we can quickly find the desired application, light meter. We will use the same app to measure the lux level in the 4 selected places. Light meter is an application which measures illuminance in lux by using the light sensor of the front camera in mobile phones. Firstly, we measure the light levels by using light meter in Tsim Sha Tsui, Mong Kok, Tin Shui Wai, and Tuen Mun respectively. We measure the lux level at the same location and direction in both day and night until the lux shown becomes stable, and then record the lux level and the time of lux level being measured. Then we will interview residents and pedestrians about their views on artificial lights and necessity of related regulation. Lastly, we will compare the measured data in daytime and at night of urban and rural areas to find out the seriousness of light pollution in Hong Kong.
Here is Tsim Sha Tsui. We are going to measure the light level near this road. There is a big screen and some promotion light. At 5:35, the illuminance is 234 lux. After 3 hours, we measure the level again at the same location. At 7:07, the illuminance is 44 lux. While about in Mong Kok, we measure the light level here. Many neon light and signs are hung up. At 5:60, it is 256 lux. And then at 7:26, it is 325 lux. Therefore, the light level at night in Tsim Sha Tsui is much lower than in daytime. Surprisingly, the illuminance at night in Mong Kok is much higher than that in daytime. It means that light pollution in Mong Kok is very serious. Let's move on to rural areas. Will the illuminance drop lower at night? Here is Tin Shui Wai, where it's relatively less busy than rural areas. It is find that the illuminance is 2,259 nus at 4:36, whereas at 7:22 is it only 16 nus. Then we measure the light level in Twin Moon, where it's mainly for residential purpose. At 6, the light level is 1,611 nus. At 9, it is 0 nus at 8:07. From the result, we can see that the illuminance level in rural area at nighttime is very low, which demonstrates that rural areas are free from light pollution. Comparing the result of urban and rural areas, unexpectedly, we find that the illuminance level of rural areas in daytime is much higher than that of urban areas. We deduce that it is related to the low high-rise building density in rural areas. With fewer buildings blocking the light, more light can be detected by the camera sensor and therefore contribute to the above result.
How about the citizens' views? Let's take a look on our interviews. In Chim Sa Choi, we've interviewed a pedestrian.
This artificial lighting won't make me feel uncomfortable, and I think this lighting is quite beautiful. So when I walk on the street, I will look on it and I feel gorgeous. I think it's not urgent for the government to set up the law to regulate the light pollution, because I think this is a point to attract tourists.
As a pedestrian, she has a neutral view about the artificial lights because they can attract tourists. Then we move on to Mong Kok to interview a resident who lives nearby.
I think this artificial light makes me feel quite disturbing because they still turn on at midnight. I need to fully close my curtain in order to get sleep. In my opinion, the greatest impact is disturbing the good sleeping quality of residents nearby. Luckily, my home doesn't face to the advertisement side strictly, otherwise I'll be frustrated of the bright lights.
She has a negative view towards artificial lights as they affect her sleeping quality.
How about citizens in rural areas?
There are not much artificial lights here, so it doesn't affect me a lot, and which is actually okay to live in here. But I think the lights affect the environment as it causes light pollution, and the animals in nature may be affected.
Wait, let's explore more on this issue by interviewing an environmentalist, Dr. Green.
Light pollution will cause the trees in urban areas to die sooner. It is found that the artificial light disrupts the natural growth cycle of trees since they rely on light to carry some growth processes. They won't have good growth when exposing to a constant illumination. Moreover, the artificial light can cause the birds migrate or hunt at night to die because they are guided by the moonlight. These lights guide the birds far away from the road and toward dangerous urban cities, or making them migrate too early or late.
So, back to our investigation. Do the light levels we have measured show the presence of light pollution? Referring to the recommended lux level for public areas with dark surroundings, it should be within 20 to 50 lux. However, the average light level we have taken from urban areas is 185 lux, which is nearly 4 times higher than the standard level. From the above, it is obvious that light pollution in Hong Kong is very severe. Actually, there are different solutions can be done to relieve the light pollution, but it is not easy to balance the interest between the stakeholders. However, in our opinion, the shop signs and promotion screens should be turned off after 11 p.m. Also, the size of the glowing boards should be restricted by law. After viewing our results, are you shocked that our city is highly illuminated with many artificial lights? Although some neon lights are really attractive and we believe they can boost Hong Kong's tourism, the environment around us should be protected at the same time. So, it's time for us to take action. Let's dim the lights together.